Hello everyone, my name is Samuel Jonathan, and I thank God for the grace to share this brief moment with you. And I know it's been quite a while that I've come through by way of video concerning Nigeria. However, on this occasion, I just want to share my personal thoughts as to what I would do if I were president. Now, there will be some of you who will be like, huh? Is that what we want to hear right now? Is that what we... You may not want to hear it right now, but there is someone who needs to hear it right now. And that person is the current president of Nigeria. For those of you who have been in leadership positions, significant leadership positions, you realize that when you find yourself in the midst of turbulent waters, that's the time you tend to pick up the phone and call and say, look, hi, but what would you have done if you were in my shoes? What would you... And some of you would be saying, right now, Pastor, this president is not listening to anyone but his advisors. It's true, but you never know if this medium may reach him, because there are times whereby a leader is drowning so much, he realizes, you know what? I need to reach out of the inner circle and the revolving ideas I tend to get all the time from the advisors. And so I'm just sharing my personal thoughts as to what I would have done if I were president, and I hope that this will make a difference. You never know until you make effort. And I celebrate the youth of this country, because what they're doing right now is they're making effort. And so I celebrate them. First things first. Mr. President, you're too distant from the people you lead. If I were president, I would be spending between 60 and 65% of my time on the ground amongst the people I lead. What would I be doing? Listening to the heartbeat of their situations. And how do I get the rhythm of the heartbeats of their situations? By lending a listening ear. Hearing their stories. Finding out firsthand, not from the newspapers, not from social media, not from electronic media, but finding out firsthand what are the challenges they're facing. And from the ground, I could pick up the phone, call those who matter, and proffer solutions or give instructions for things to be done. Have more community town hall meetings and leave Aso Rock and come to the actual place where the people are. Probably the other 30 or 35% of the time I may spend occasionally in the office, because a country such as Nigeria needs a working president. You can't spend all the time in the office and then just hoping things will work out. You're too distant from the people you lead. And I'm sure you're finding out that that Nigerian leadership style of, you know what, like, the more distance I keep from them, the more recognized I am and more respect I get, it's not working. Grassroots leadership that is very sensitive to the issues of the people is the best approach. Of course, according to Samuel Jonathan, if the approach is wrong, the outcome can never be right. And that way, you're not depending on what others say, or second-hand information or third-hand information. You are feeling the pulse of the people and their heartbeat. You're not the last to know about it. You're the first to know about it. And so before things get to the stage where we're at now, right now, you would have sensed the pulse a long time ago. A leader that is too far from his followers will end up becoming one of the followers. Secondly, what would I do if I were president? If I were president, I'll speak up the more. Why? According to Samuel Jonathan, a leader who does not speak up will eventually get swallowed up. And that's what's happening right now. You're getting swallowed up by all the nationwide protests, and now it's becoming Nigerians in the diaspora protest, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And because of step one, which I suggested I would have done if I were president, because that step is not being taken, now there's multitudes of issues feeding on each other. So one issue serves as a keg of kerosene. Another issue serves as a gas cylinder getting ready to explode. Another issue is like a keg of gunpowder. Another issue is like petrol just waiting to be ignited. And so this one issue concerning SARS and police brutality is now the matchstick that's now igniting one after the other. Trust me, even if you're to shut down the Nigerian police force, don't know why it's called force, that's probably why they're using force on their own citizens. Can you imagine? Of course, it starts with leadership. Even if you shut down the Nigerian police force right now, all the other issues that are brewing, what it has to do with restructuring and what it has to do with poor governance, I wouldn't even call it bad governance, poor governance, corruption and so on, lump-sided appointments, all those issues will feed on each other and the protests will not end. And sadly, because you don't speak up, and sometimes you're the last voice we hear in the midst of crisis, now you're getting swallowed up. So if I were president, I will speak up more often. Let the people hear from you. You are the leader. In leadership, there's what we call vision casting. You're letting the followers know where we are going, how we're going to get there, what needs to be done to get there, and when you anticipate it's going to be accomplished. So that the followers are not disconnected from the leader. In the case of Nigeria, of course, there's disconnect. And because of that disconnect, there's lack of trust. And when there's lack of trust, there's no currency like the currency of trust. It is more potent than the dollar, more potent than the pound sterling, and yes, more potent than the naira. The currency of trust. Once you have lost that as a leader, it leads me to my third and final point. What I would do, sir, if I were president, I will accept that I've provided failed leadership. I know you probably may not find that easy to chew, but the truth sometimes is bitter. And it's a pill that you may have to swallow right now. And your inner circle and advisors may say, no, don't do that, don't do that. No, not to Nigeria. No. It doesn't make you less of a man, sir. It makes you more of a man. Accept that your leadership has failed. No, I didn't say you were a failure. Your leadership has failed. Number two, so you admit failed leadership. Number two, we're still on point number three. Number two, subsection 2, you admit things are not going well. You accept responsibility. So you admit that leadership has failed the young people, not necessarily just your government, but previous governments. The leaders of Nigeria have failed the youth of Nigeria. The older generation have repeatedly let the youth down. And there's so much that they can take. So you admit failed leadership. You accept responsibility. Once again, I know as a typical Nigerian man, accepting responsibility may be the last thing we want to do, but it's what you need to do. Accept responsibility. Here's a third one, under the third point I would have done if I were president. This may be the toughest for you, to apologize. The 3 A's of leadership: admit, accept, and apologize. Apologize to the Nigerian people. Apologize to the youth. Now look, you know what? We older folks have let you down. We're supposed to be grown-ups, but sometimes it's like we're giving-ups. We failed you. And as leader of this country, I apologize. Of course, such a statement, Nigerians would be like, huh? Is this coming from a Nigerian president? Apologize. It doesn't make you less of a man, sir. It makes you more of a man. And you can go ahead and plead for their forgiveness. Oh, you find that too difficult to do? I understand. If I were president, that's what I'll do. I'll plead for their forgiveness. There are many young people whose destinies have been wasted at the hands of brutal police officers. There are many young people who have committed suicide and their stories never made the headlines because they were not the son or daughter of some big man or big woman. There are many people who have starved to death because of bad governance and poor leadership. There are lives that have been wasted and gone and can never be recovered. Apologize and say, look, on behalf of past governments and my government, I apologize, we have failed you. And what's going on right now sheds light that, look, it's time for us to turn around. Something is not working. Apologize, plead for their forgiveness. Plead for their forgiveness. Look, I sincerely apologize and I plead for your forgiveness. That's what I would do if I were president. I have never seen a situation whereby apologizing for what you have done wrong has made you less of a man. No, in fact, people will respect you more. And here's the concluding one, under point number 3. If I were president, what I would do. I'll look Nigerians straight in the eye and tell them, you know what? I've done the best I can, and that best has not gotten our country to where we need to be. Therefore, I believe it's time we allow someone else a chance and see if they could do a better job. And honorably step down. Don't wait for people to kick you out or ask for you to resign. Do the noble thing and step down. Now, your advisors will probably be telling you other things and so on, but remember, it's your legacy. It's your reputation. It's your name that's at stake. After everything is done and gone, dust settled, the advisors come and go, but it's you that people will say was during your time that things fell apart, like in the novel by the great Chinua Achebe. I can't compel you to do these things. I was just sharing my thoughts as to what I would do if I were president.